get this question quite frequently. Dennis, what's the difference between a will and a trust? And the second question is, which one do I need? So let's jump into that a little bit and help you make a decision, help you decide, hey, which one might be best for me and what do I need to do to make that happen? So here's the first thing that you need to be aware of, maybe, is both of them ensure that your property gets distributed how you want to. So if you're going to leave things as part of your legacy, you get to decide who you're going to leave them to. Both a will and a trust will do that for you. Now, here's the deal. Almost everybody, in my opinion, all right, and listen, I am not a financial advisor. I am not a certified financial advisor. However, I have a lot of colleagues that are in that industry, and they share that information with me quite frequently. And this is what I've learned from them. These are the folks at Workshops for Retirement who are amazing at this. So, this is the information that I go with. And quite frankly, most of you and I are not experts in this, and we rely on expert information. That's why Workshops for Retirement does what it does. So let me share with you what I've learned from them. All right. First of all, most people with less than $1 million in assets choose to only have a will. Now, the interesting thing to consider there is when you're thinking about your assets, that's not just the money in your accounts, your 401ks and your IRAs and things like that. It's also, think about the value of your homes and your vehicles. Many homes these days, the values have gone up substantially. So the chances are that many people may have estates that are worth over $1 million, and it's worth considering. Do you need a trust or do you need a will? That's a conversation that I'm going to recommend that you absolutely have with your certified financial advisor or with your estate attorney. Optimally, you're going to have that conversation with both of them, and they should both be talking to each other anyway to make sure that you get the best results in retirement. So let's talk about trust first. There are different kinds of trusts. There are living trusts, which, like the word says, they happen while you're living. So while you're living, you put stuff into the trust. And that has certain tax benefits, and there's certain tax implications to that. Those are things to discuss with your financial advisor. Then there are revocable and irrevocable trusts. Revocable, you can change it. Irrevocable, like it says, you can't, all right? Then there are charitable trusts where after you leave, maybe you want to leave money to your old high school or your alma mater or to a certain organization in your community, whatever that is. And then there are special needs trusts to help take care of special needs in your life or people who have special needs that are going to need care after you've passed on. And there are other types of trusts too, but we're not going to get into that here today. A trust takes effect when you're alive. So while you're alive, as soon as you make the trust, that trust takes effect. A will, on the other hand, well, a will, you may write it now, but it doesn't take effect till after you've transitioned into the next part of your life, right? After you've expired. Here's another difference between a trust and a will. A trust skips probate, which is the legal mumbo jumbo that happens as they're determining where your assets are, what happens, who gets taxed by them, where do they go, and then the courts are involved. And that's usually a lengthy process. A will goes through probate. A trust skips probate, so you bypass that all the time. In a trust, your assets transfer immediately. As soon as the trust is formed, the assets transfer into the trust. With a will, those assets transfer after a certain amount of time. So with a trust, as soon as you pass, or if it's a living trust, it happens immediately. With a will, if you just have that and you pass, well, then it takes a little bit of time for probate to go through the process before your assets are distributed. A trust, the transfer of assets stays private. With a will, well, that's a public event, so the public will know about it. Now, here's one of the big distinctions between the two. A trust may cost you a little bit more to set up, from hundreds to thousands of dollars, depending on how complicated it is. However, it can often be far less money to administer later on. On the other hand, a will is super cheap to draft. You can probably find copies of one online, but what happens is, as you're going through probate afterwards, you're going to actually need to find probably an attorney. It's going to involve the court. There are going to be court fees. So a will can actually be more expensive to administer later on. Now, which one you decide, which one is right for you, I'm not going to decide that for you. That is a decision that I believe you should absolutely be having with your certified financial advisor or with your estate attorney, or again, optimally, have it with both of them. If you do not have one or both of those, we'd love to help. At Workshops for Retirement, we have financial and retirement workshops going on all over the country all year long. Just click on one of the links below, join us at one of our workshops, connect with one of our financial advisors, and ask them the questions and letting them know what's your situation, what's your background, what does your portfolio currently look for, and they can let you know what they recommend and what's right for you. Ideally, you're going to have to make a decision that is completely designed exclusively for you and your situation and your financial background. Until I talk to you next time, this is Dennis Cummins for Workshops for Retirement. Stay well, and in retirement, stay wealthy.